Hello, and welcome back to the Dream Printing Podcast. We're going to talk about how to market and sell a paper product with confidence. That's one of the questions I get asked a lot. I've had my own paper product business for over 10 years now. It's Horacio Printing. We just came out with our 2025 Dream Planner collection, and we're working on our 2026 planners as of right now. And one of the things I get asked is how to really sell. How do you launch it? How do you make money doing this? Because I think that's a big piece of it. One piece is obviously making the product, but the other piece is like, how do I launch it? How do I market it successfully? How do I stand out in a really busy ecosphere? And like, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of market competition. And how do I overcome the fear of failure? And the fear of failure is unfortunately inevitable in life. I had a lot of fear of failure when I was stepping into this business and into this space. And one of my favorite books, this just popped into my head. One of my favorite books, if you are really scared about pursuing your dream, whatever your dream is, I cannot recommend this book enough. This is called The Dream Giver. I'm just pull this out of my cabinet. This is a great book. If you feel like God's given you a dream, I can't recommend this book enough. It helps you kind of go through the fear of failure, the fear of judgment. You're going to deal with all sorts of opposition when you're trying to step into your dreams. And right now, I'm recording this in January of 2025. And right now, I think is a time where people start to dream and it starts to bubble up. And I just want to encourage you that it's okay to fail. Even if you did create something and failed, it's all a data point. One of my best pieces of advice I ever got was from a business coach, and he talks about making decisions. And one of the ways he makes decisions is he comes up with, all right, what's the best case scenario of what could happen? Okay, write that down. What is it? And then what's the worst case scenario that could happen? Write it down. And then say, can I live with the best case scenario? Is that exciting? Like really dive into it. And then what is that worst case scenario? And if that happened, can I live with that? And more often than not, once you finally just look at the worst case scenario in the face, it's like, I can live with that. It's worth it to attempt the best case. Does that make sense? Like we have to step out if we want to see our dreams come true. Anyways, I'm just excited to kind of talk to you about this, but it goes deeper. I think we just have that fear of like, what will people think and what will people say if I try to come out with this? So when I started my planner business back in 2014, and it was a Christian planner company, I was not living a perfect Christian lifestyle. I wasn't coming out with a planner because I personally had my life together and wanted to show everybody how I did it. I made a planner because I needed one because I was a mess, internal and external. And I knew like there was just this itch in my soul of like, there's something more. And my life was a mess. I needed a planner. Anyways, it's kind of a long story to get into it, but I want to just kind of encourage you that like, I didn't go into this knowing for sure it would be a success. I just went in knowing I really want to pursue this dream. And if that's where you're at, that's a good place. And you can just keep taking another step forward. And while we're here, I would love to invite you to a 5-day live challenge that I'm hosting next month in February. I don't know if you're catching this before it starts. It starts on February 10th, and it's called the Print Thing Challenge. It's going to be a 5-day free training, and I'd love to just invite you into it. You can go to horacioprinting.com/print and you can sign up. You'll get 5 days of training, and I'm going to teach you my entire dream printing method, how to print and sell your thing. But we're going to go ahead and dive into this episode and get started. And I'm super excited. So let's go ahead and dive into my training on how to market and sell a paper product with confidence. All right, let's get into it. I decided to break this up into 5 keys that I think are critical if you're going to stand out in the marketplace, if you're going to succeed in selling something and marketing it and launching it. All right, so if you have a journal, which I'm sure you do. You're probably a paper snob like me. Write these down. The first one, the most successful foundation I could give you, truthfully, is to have a good product. This one gets jumped over for some reason. You have to really love what you've made if you're going to sell it properly. I'm not saying that's the only thing, because you also have to like get it in front of people. Like you can't just build something and bury it under the ground and say, I hope people buy it, when no one can even find it. But a good product really matters. You know this because you've bought stuff on the internet. I'm just guessing. You've bought stuff on the internet. You've received it into your house or off of your doorstep, opened it, and it's been terrible. And you're like, oh man, I thought this was going to be great. It's actually really low quality. Or you've ordered something and you've got it in the mail and you've gone, wow, this was made by a real person who cares and it's amazing. And I want to buy this for my friends. This is a great gift. Oh my gosh, I got to share about it. This is awesome. We want to be in the latter half, right? That's what makes not only a company sell, but a company sell year over year, over year, over year, over year. Let that word of mouth blow up your business. You can't have a crappy product and expect word of mouth to work. The only thing that word of mouth is going to do is tell people to stay away, right? So we want to have a good product. What do I mean by good product? I mean well designed. The layout is beautiful. It's, there's enough white space. The pages are balanced. It's well designed. It's not overwhelming. It's cohesive. It's not a Frankenstein Canva file, which I talk about a lot on this channel. And I have tons of episodes about, how to have a good design in your planner, design mistakes. You can check out my episode actually about like key design mistakes here. And I go into those in depth. But one of the big ones is it has to be well designed. The second one is it needs to be high quality. One of the reasons why I have customers, and I'd say like about 70% of my planner sales this year were returning customers, it's because it's high quality. I use really thick paper, like so thick you could really use like a Sharpie on this guy. It lays flat. It's stunning. It's well designed. This is why people come back. The packaging is beautiful. This is just one of the styles. We have other styles and coils and things. And another thing that makes something a good product is you can tell it was intentionally designed by someone who has a heart. So it's intentionally designed. It's thoughtful design. And when you have a product that's really good, I think that's what helps you have confidence. Did you know when you lie, it actually weakens your body? I was just watching a study about this. Like if you say a lie and try to have someone like resist, someone pushes your hand down while you're telling the truth, it's easy to resist. But if you tell a lie, it's like easy, like you lose strength in your body. I don't know if that's making sense. But the point is, it's really hard to sell a product when you know it's kind of crappy. Like it's hard. It's harder to sell a crappy product. So that's a big piece. When it comes to confidence, if you have the confidence that it's high quality, it's well designed, it's thoughtful, it's going to be a lot easier for you to articulate that, for you to share it with the world, for you to be excited to pull it out of your bag and hand it to somebody that you see in a coffee shop. You know what I mean? And that's why I made Print School. People were coming to me for years asking me, hey, how did you make your product? I really love it. It's so high quality. Can you print my product? And I had to say, no. And I didn't share any of my tools of how I do good design, how I set up my products, how I design my products, how I print my products, how I source my materials. And finally, I just felt the calling of God tell me, you need to share this. You need to share it with the world. Other people need to make things. And that's why up here, this is all my student stuff. And down here as well. And I have a ton to unbox on that side of my office, which I will on Instagram. So if you want to see some fun unboxings, you can always go check out at Horacio Printing online. I share over there. That's why I made Print School. You can check that out. It's at HoracioPrinting.com/Print School. It's a program where I teach all of it. I give all the templates. I give my printers. I teach you how to work with printers, how to know what materials to ask for, all of it. That's number one, a good product. And it seems kind of obvious, but some people still don't make good products. So I don't know. We're going to keep teaching it. Number two, a big piece to make sure that you stand out in the marketplace. And I teach this with my students all the time. And it's about really making sure that you know exactly who your product is for. What is that niche that you're going into, or niche, however you say it? What is that person that you're making this for, and what problem does it solve? You have to have complete clarity on this. And it's not that you have to have a subset of people that's so tiny, but it is really powerful if you want to become the best in that space to know who it's for. Mine's just for Christian women and some men. My husband loves our planner, which I love that he loves our planner. He uses the black leather one. This is our most, gender neutral one. But really knowing your niche, and then making sure that your marketing really speaks to the heart of that person. It understands them. It is speaking to their problems. It's speaking to their longings. And the product backs up what their problem is. Like, it helps them with productivity, or it helps them with keeping track of their medications, or it helps them with mental health. Like, whatever their problem is, who you've made this product for, the heart behind your marketing and messaging and the product itself support that. Another big piece to making sure you stand out in the marketplace is how you nurture. And when I say nurture, I'm really talking about the people that join your email list, nurturing them with added value that speaks to their longings, their pain points, their stressful stories, their issues that back up into your product. And then secondly, so nurturing on the front end, but nurturing on the back end. When they've purchased your product, how are you nurturing them to make sure that they are successful with your product? One of the things that I've done for years, and you can find it all over this YouTube channel, is tutorials about how to use my planner. And I would film them, put them on YouTube, have a playlist. You can go back and see Pregnant Polly from 2018 with dark hair, teaching how to do a refocus cloud, how to do a bucket list, how to do generosity planning, and all these pieces in the planner, helping them set up their planner, because I wanted to make sure people actually use the product. I don't care just about, oh, yay, Susie bought a planner on my website. I want to make sure Susie has a result. I want to make sure Susie enjoys it, because then guess what? Susie gets a result. That's exciting. But also Susie comes back, and maybe Susie buys 3 next time because she's shopping for Christmas and she knows that her mother-in-law would love this product, right? So that's how we stand out. It's by giving back. It's by giving back, speaking to the heart and nurturing our person. So that's number 2. Number 3 is really, I want to speak to launching. How do you launch? And there's 2 ways to do that. So number 3 is kind of a 2-parter. There's 2 ways to launch. And if you're like, how do I launch? How do I do it? How do I sell this thing? There's 2 ways to do it. And you can do both in the same year. Some of my students do one, some do both. You can choose. So one way to launch is called a traditional launch. Traditional launch. And that means you buy your products, you set up your website to sell it, and then you sell it. Pretty simple, kind of like how you think to do it. This is not print on demand or drop shipping or anything like that. I've talked a lot about print on demand on this channel. I have an episode on print on demand. Spoiler alert, I don't recommend print on demand. It doesn't give you number 1. Remember what number 1 was? A good product. Nope, doesn't do it. It's also way too expensive. So what I teach is traditional publishing, traditional printing. And if you do a traditional launch, you buy your inventory upfront, you have your website, and then you sell it on your website. Okay, that's a traditional launch. There's another option. You could also do a pre-order launch. And that's where you set up either your website first, you gain the money to buy the product, then you print the item with that money that you raised through pre-order, and then you deliver it to the customers. And after that, you take that printed product, let's say you pre-sell them for $50. Let's do it as an easy number. And you pre-sell 100 of them, okay? Woohoo! Let's do some math here. I've got my handy dandy calculator because I'm really bad at math. Let's say you sell them for $50 and you sell them to 100 people. So you've now done $5K in sales. Well, let's say the printer can get them printed all in at $7. You can buy 714 units at $7. And yes, that is possible, which is why people jump into print school to get connected with my printers and understand how to work with them in order to get a cost per unit like that, because you can't get that on print on demand. So you spend $7 times 500 units, that's $3,500. You already pre-sold 100, so now you have 400 left to sell and they're already paid for. This is how fun it can be to work through the pre-order strategy. And so this is what I teach inside of Launch School. Launch School is a bonus program that comes with Print School. And I teach you how to do a traditional launch, and I teach you how to do a pre-order launch. And for most people, after they get done with that pre-order launch, they do a traditional launch. So they'll start selling on their website. When it comes to pre-order, you could pre-order on a website, or you could pre-order through Kickstarter. That's one of the ways that we do it. I'll show you here. This is on our alumni page. We have a lot of students who do Kickstarter, and you can click and see some of their campaigns. They try to raise anywhere from $2,500 to $10,000 to raise the money to fund their print. And it's so much fun. I will say, some people ask, well, how many of your students are actually successful? How many of them actually hit their goal? That's such a great question, because I know we have the fear of failure, right? We talked about at the beginning of this episode. I know I had the fear of failure. I did a Kickstarter in my second year. And let me tell you, it's around 65 to 70% of students who pursue the Kickstarter hit their goal. And one of the most, and I can go through like what makes the Kickstarter good and what makes it, succeed or not succeed. I can definitely give you some tips there. And I teach this inside of Launch School. So if that's something you're interested in, comment below so I can know like what you guys want to hear next on this channel. But those are the two different ways to launch. When it comes to a website launch, I really love Shopify. That's what I teach in Launch School. I teach you how to set up your Shopify website, how to set up your email marketing, how to connect it all and get it all zipped up so that people can place an order on the website. It immediately triggers a fulfillment that needs to be fulfilled. I teach you how to either work with one of my warehouses so they will ship out your product for you, or how to DIY it and ship from your own home. And then the customer automatically gets that tracking number and everything's in place. It's all automated, which is so fun. And also it really kind of takes the stress off. So that is number 3, just kind of teaching you a little bit about how to launch. You really have 2 strategies. The benefit, obviously, with pre-order is that you could not have to spend your own money to buy product up front. The drawback is doing a pre-order. Here's the pro and con of it. Doing a pre-order campaign adds more time to the timeline. So, for example, if you're wanting to do a pre-order campaign to buy a 2026 planner, you need to have that pre-order campaign happening in June, which means you need to have your sample printed by like 1st of April. Does that make sense? So you could have time to get the sample and then create the campaign. So that means you need to get your design started today so you can get that sample printed in April. So anyways, that's, and I've talked a little bit about timeline in my last couple episodes, so you can check that out to understand what it takes for the timeline. So traditional printing is a little better because it's a little faster. You don't have to take 2 months out of your timeline to do the campaign. Okay, so number 4, I just want to talk quickly about how do we actually launch and sell successfully? What is a critical piece to that? And number 4, the critical piece to launching and selling successfully, one of them, I'm going to have 2 of them. So one's going to be number 4 and one's going to be number 5. This one is exposure. I kind of mentioned this earlier. Like if you have a beautiful product, but you can just go grab a shovel and bury this into the dirt outside, no one's going to buy it. It has to have eyeballs on it. Like you're watching this right now. You are an eyeball watching my YouTube channel, right? You have to get eyeballs on your product after you make it. You need to have a plan to maximize exposure and get as many eyeballs as possible. And this is where fear of failure and fear of judgment will get in the way. Well, I don't want to share it on my personal page. I don't know if I want to go live on Instagram. I don't know if I want to bug my aunt about it, or I want to like send an email to everyone. Like, no, you have to maximize exposure. This is your dream. You have to give it a shot. And guess what? There will be people in your life who love you, who you know really well, who are going to oppose your dream. You're going to have opposition. So you just have to get prepared for it now. And that's why I really love this book, The Dream Giver. It's really helpful. It's great. I used to have a course called the Dream Crafting course, and it was really just helping people with fear of failure and fear of judgment. And so I did a lot of studying on this, and I also went through it myself. I had people in my life that I love, that are very close to me, potentially related to me, who have been opposed to my dreams throughout the years and, just didn't believe in me, period. And I don't know if you're like me, but like that just motivates me more. Fortunately, that's actually a motivator. I remember beginning of last year, I was sitting with my husband, and it wasn't my husband who was a big dream killer or anything, but there was a thing I told him about a big dream I had for 2024. And because I wanted us to combine resources in a certain way. And I wanted his support. And he was like, all right, well, prove that you can do like any of this, and then I'm in. Like, show me. I was trying to save money basically for the first time in forever. I'm a spender. I don't know where you are on the spectrum of spending and saving, but I'm bad about saving money. And so I was like, I want to start actually saving money and doing better with that. And because I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, I haven't had like a typical like 401k job or whatever. Anyways, and so he was like, well, prove to me that you can do any of that you just said. And like, then I'm all in. And there was something about that. The fact that he didn't like fully believe I could do it, that was so motivating. Maybe you're like me and that's motivating to you. And sometimes it can be crushing, it still kind of hurts if someone doesn't believe in you. But all that to say, like, you have to kind of get over that and just move forward. And that's what I really love about the launch school and print school space inside my program. It's just a bunch of people also pursuing their dreams, facing fear head on, and we all just encourage each other. We're all what I call like candle flamers versus candle blower outers. And we're going to always have these candle blower outers in our life, but it's good to be in a space where people are fanning your flame. So how do we get exposure? Well, you have to think about your person. Remember who that person was. We talked about that in number 2. How do you stand out and connect to that niche that you're going after and speak to them? Well, we want to make sure wherever we are going live or sharing about our launch, it is filled with that person. So where are they? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Pinterest? Are they on Facebook? And then how do we maximize our existing organic audience? And I have a lot of calculators where you can type in all of your numbers and really see like, all right, how many should I buy? What could I expect on launch day? And then what I recommend. And I will say the people that are successful are the people who follow the steps. The people that aren't successful are typically the people who hold back, either out of fear or out of, I want to say like overconfidence, that like, oh, I don't need to tell everybody because as soon as I share it once, like everyone's going to buy. Like that assumption confidence that like, I don't need to put in the work. That's usually a hindrance that I see. So it's all about exposure. The fifth one, when it comes to launching and selling successfully, is you have to have hype and education. Hype and education. What do I mean? You have to build excitement, build urgency, build enthusiasm around your product. I heard on, what was it? I watched the show Owning Manhattan. I used to live in New York on Horatio Street, and that's where my company is, Horacio Printing, if you didn't know that. And Ryan Serhant, he was talking about how sales it's the transfer of enthusiasm. And so you have to be enthusiastic about your product. And that's one of the reasons why, back to number 1, having a good product makes it a lot easier to sell. So you have to drive hype, and you also have to educate. One big part of sales is education, telling them the features of the product, and not only just the features, but how does it help your problem? Who is it for? Why I made this, the heart behind it, the intentionality of it, how to complete the pages inside, what the pages inside are about, who it's for. Like, you have to really educate. And you can't just say, hey, I made a thing, buy it. And maybe 5 people would, but you have to really educate them if you want people to buy it. When was the last time you bought something that you truly didn't understand? You don't buy it if you don't understand it. That's why people have to like rope you in to like teach about the product. That's why you end up going to their website, watching a video, and they're like, oh, I should buy this supplement, because I watched the video, I understand it now. So you have to have hype and education. And if you want my launch plan, my strategies, my template of how to successfully launch a product, this is what I have in Launch School. It's basically step 2 of my program. Step 1 is Print School, where we make the good product. We make something you're proud of, something you're excited to share with the world. And then we step into step 2, which is Launch School. Print School and Launch School are application based. So get your application in. We would love to review it. It's not a difficult application. Don't have fear of failure about the application. It's really just helping you get clarity on what you're making. And we want to vet people coming in. We only have so much capacity to serve our Print School students. And so we want to make sure that we're a good fit. So fill out the application at horacioprinting.com/printschool. You can apply there, and then we will talk to you over email. And again, if you want to hang out with me for 5 days live, maybe you're interested in Print School, but you don't really know what you want to make yet, this will help you get clarity. That 5-day challenge is all about clarity. We're going to work on your product together. It's going to be so fun. So join me at that. If you want to just do the 5-day challenge, you can go to horacioprinting.com/print and sign up. And I will see you there at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time on February 10th. And it's going to be super fun. I hope to see you there. If you have any other questions or things you would like for me to teach on this podcast, drop it in the comments. I would love to connect with you. I hope you have a wonderful day. You are so loved. Bye, guys.